how to prosper in chaotic times, in trying times, in times where we don't really know what's happening truly, and it's a time of the unfamiliar, the unknown. What really gave me so much inner strength and power and wisdom was understanding how the human brain does not like the unknown, and it only functions based on already existing stored data from the past. And so if the conscious mind doesn't teach the brain new things, then we stay in old patterns, old behaviors. And the number one function of the human brain is to detect fear, threat, danger, and look for anything that might be a threat to our livelihood and our survival. And I mean survival is breathing with a pulse. When I learned all of this, my whole life made sense finally. All the therapy and all the self-help crap was great, but it never gave me the answers that I sought out my entire life since a very small child. And this is something that I need to share because when our circumstances and external conditions are affected by collective consciousness, mass consciousness, and mass fear, it ends up to be very chaotic within ourselves, within our mind, within our hearts, and also within our physical reality. And chaos is just misunderstood, ununderstood fear that gets computed in the brain as the unknown, but really the lack of control. When the human brain doesn't compute information, it shows up in our minds as out of control. We don't have any control. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what it looks like. So at best, we can only prepare based on what we're hearing and seeing outside of ourselves. And then the fear mechanism is automatically kept engaged to add more fear and more fear and more fear through more unknown, more unfamiliar, more no control, and it just creates a disastrous situation. The way to not get caught up in this is extremely counterintuitive, and it means be and do opposite. So when it's looking like things aren't going well at all, and there's a lot of chaos and mass fear, is to know that a lot of it isn't even real. That the fear is only based on our perceptions and what we perceive to be happening and not happening without considering any of the objective evidence. In other words, our perceptions or thoughts create our emotions. So when we have a negative view and a negative outlook, it automatically creates negative emotions and feelings. And these are negative emotions and feelings then dictate our actions or the lack thereof. It either has us fight, flee, or freeze. These are the actions that occur when there's mass hysteria, fear, chaos. And so if we look at the actions, fight, flight, freeze. These are the three functions of fear: fight, flight, freeze. If these are our only three options, none of them seem very powerful. Well, in times like this, none of them are powerful. Freezing, fleeing, and fighting, all counterproductive. So when I really studied and understood that a lot of my perceptions were based on unconscious fear, on negative points of view, negative opinions, negative perceptions in my own mind, by understanding that these perceptive filters were completely clouding my view of myself and the world, sure enough, the feelings and emotions followed suit. And then the solution was so super simple, it's almost absurd. Is I trained my brain and my mind. So the mind is the brain in action, my conscious mind. So I trained my brain, predominantly my conscious mind, to reframe and reevaluate, reassess my perceptions, backing it up with reality, evidence, objective, real proof. What does that mean? That means that I don't fall into reaction any longer, because I learned that that never worked, and that I also learned there's a better, more high-powered, happier, healthier way. Hello. And it really comes down to looking at the perceptions in the moment, especially when I'm in a down energy, a depressed energy, a sad energy, an angry energy, an angst energy, which shows up as anxiety, insomnia, irritability, distraction, lack of focus, demotivation, uninspiration, lack of creativity, and I'm a massive creative. These are all symptoms that I gotta look to see consciously how I perceive my current conditions, external conditions, how I'm viewing myself and my world around me. What is the news saying? What are people saying? What are people not saying? Do I believe in this? Do I buy into it? Looking to see, am I caught up in the negativity, which gives me no power? And then I have to look, okay, what evidence do we have to prove that I have any right to be negative, pessimistic, and coming from a very low energetic vibration? And then I look and I start to reframe my perceptions. I look for the good. I look for the silver lining. There's a silver lining in every cloud. I don't know where that came from, but I believe there are always blessings in disguise. I don't believe in accidents and coincidences. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and the reason it's happening is to become better, wiser, stronger, more enlightened, more evolved. And that's why all of this is so necessary. Crisis is necessary. Chaos, necessary. Don't like it, but it has its own relevance in terms of waking us up and having the conscious mind, giving the conscious mind more opportunity to grow and become even more conscious and evolved. And I know personally, one of the biggest tragedies and the thing that almost killed me, and I took my own life, I attempted to take my own life, was the death of my sister. There's nothing more tragic. I don't care what anyone says. From my experience, there's nothing more tragic than to lose a loved one, especially a sibling that I adored and was my favorite, one of my most favorite humans on the planet. Nothing could be worse. And including my own death. At least if I'm dead, then I don't have to go through the pain, but to be alive with that type of loss is the worst chaos ever. And I made it that because that's how I perceived it. Like, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened. And now looking back, it actually was the best thing that could have ever happened in terms of what I learned from it, what it had me do and not do, what it had me believe and not believe, what it had me go through to get where I am today. It is the greatest blessing of my life, and it actually gave me not just the opportunity and the will to really be alive and live my highest, best, fullest life. It gave me a grand purpose, the very thing I've been searching for since childhood. Now I know that crisis is actually a good thing. Chaos is a good thing if we consciously look for all the good. Number one, wake up call, wake up call, wake up call, bring it on. OMG. I don't want to live in negativity. I hate negativity. I hate pessimism, and I can be very pessimistic, very judgy. I don't like that about myself, and I'm the only one who has the power and control to transform that, to not do that anymore. It's a downer. It makes me feel yucky. It has me not want to do all the things that I love to do. It has me not want to take care of all the already existing magical dreams come true. It is like the biggest downer ever. And so, in times like this, we want to look for the good. We want to see what we can learn. We want to, and it will be hard sometimes. It will be almost impossible to see any good. But I'm telling you, it's there. You just have to persistently, consistently be super conscious and look to see where all the blessings are, counting the existing blessings, being grateful, and not buying into anything without doing your own independent research and fact-finding. Do not listen to what everyone is saying and doing. Don't follow people just because they're doing it. Know why you're doing it or choosing not to do it. If everyone wanted to run off the San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge, are you going to follow them just because they're all doing it? I mean, that's like, it's so true. It's like a simple example, but it's so true. So I learned to gather my own evidence. This is the thing that really set me free, is to understand the objective, real evidence that proves my points of view, that proves my perceptions, that proves the way I perceive myself and my life. What evidence do you have, Karen, to back up your negativity? And is that enough evidence? Is that the evidence you want to bank on? Versus the evidence in objective reality that supports, I have everything and then some, and especially everything to be thankful for and grateful for that I am the source of. See, I absolutely believe and learned that whatever is happening or not happening externally in my circumstances is because I'm the root source and cause of it. Cause and effect, meaning I am the source of all the good, the bad, the ugly, all the magic and the miracles. And if things aren't working in my life or around me, it's because at some level I'm responsible for it, because I'm the source of it, based on how I view things. Am I viewing from a negative point of view or a positive point of view? Am I seeing the good when it looks like there's no good? Am I persistent and consistent in looking for the good? So during these very trying, scary, unfamiliar, unknown times, this is the perfect opportunity to seek within and go back and look to see, and this is what I do, everything that I've created, everything that I've done based on the beliefs that I am the source. And the thing I remembered, it's this whole, whatever's happening, it had me just a couple days ago realize, I've been through similar things. I've been through some really bad things, earthquakes, the riots, recession. I already went through this. Wait a minute. I did? I totally forgot. Yes, I did. And then I realized, wait a minute, that was back in 2008, 9, 10, 11. Those were my worst years. But it wasn't because of a recession. It was because I finally started to feel the pain and anguish and anger over the death of my sister. Had nothing to do with a recession. And then I realized, oh my God, I started my coaching business back just out of 2011, out of a recession. But I didn't even know we were in a recession. Like, I didn't let it get to me. I didn't use it as an excuse. I didn't fall prey to massive disempowered beliefs. I called myself a dream coach. And I actually didn't even set out to be a coach. So this all came out of me understanding me delving into my psyche, me understanding how the brain plays tricks on us and creates this madness in our minds, the wheel of insanity, expecting different results, doing the same exact thing. I just focused on that, and the more I understood, the more I started to like me and fall in love with me and my circumstances, good, bad, or otherwise. And I just kept going because I was like, oh my God, this is the real organic panacea. This is what I've been searching for my whole life. My whole world started to make sense. And I just kept mastering it and learning more and mastering and trying and experiencing it and falling and failing and getting back up and doing it again and again and again. And the next thing you know, I'm getting so super good at it that I had a woman approach me and say, do you do personal coaching? And I answered, yes, I do, because I realized in objective reality, I had been coaching all my friends. I had been helping them out with their mindset, with their heart set, with their passions. I had been practicing and practicing for no money. I loved it so much, I was willing to do it for free. Just because I kept learning more about people, I kept learning more and more about myself. The more I learned about myself, the more I could understand people, the more I could be more compassionate and empathetic, the more I could relate to other people and feel more connected and to other people. It was glorious. I never stopped. I never looked back. But then I realized, oh my God, I started a quote unquote dream life coaching business from nothing in a recession. Like in the worst parts of the recession. It actually gets worse before it gets better. And then I look back and I'm like, wait a minute. There was a recession. Did I know about it? I don't know. But I knew that I didn't let it get to me. I knew that I didn't buy into it. I knew that I'm just going to go with my passions and let the chips fall where they may. And I was willing, of course, to take lots of calculated, powerful risks toward my life, for my life, and it just kept working over and over again. And so when I realized, oh my God, this is magnificent, I must share this. That as we know overall, whenever we go through a recession or a depression or a massive breakdown within ourselves and within our circumstances around us, there's always a breakthrough to be had. There's always good on the other side. There's always something to learn on the other side. This is my new mantra. This is what I had to learn because I wasn't doing it that way, and nothing in my life was working. It was only getting worse and worse and worse. And so now I see this as grand opportunity, but economically, okay, overall, when the economy goes down, well, it goes down, so we need to learn from it so we can stop the cycle. And the one thing I know more than anything is don't buy into it. Don't invest into it. Don't believe this is the end all. And I only can do this because from my past experience, I've been through this before, but at the time I have to look for and assess what worked. Well, I never bought into it, so it never was a recession to me. Life still goes on. I was still showing up. I was still networking. I was still letting people know this is what I do. And this is how I started to do this. And this is why I do this and how it helped me personally. I was my own best, worst client case study. And I was the worst case ever because I had no blatant excuses. I came from a good family. I came from a wealthy family. I didn't live on the streets. I wasn't homeless. I wasn't beaten. I wasn't raped. I didn't have any almost justifiable excuses. As a matter of fact, I had complete opposite. So that made me really look to see what is wrong. Why do I think like this? Why do I have such a negative, hateful view of myself and of the world and others? Like, what is that about? Well, it just stemmed from me not understanding why I thought the things that I thought and did the things that I did and didn't have more powerful thoughts or happier thoughts, why I couldn't be thankful for all the blessings, be thankful for my parents, doing such a great job to be self-made, to give me all the things that, I had in my life. My perceptions were so horrifically skewed. And that's when I realized, oh my God, no wonder it didn't work. And it just progressively got worse and worse and worse. And so what I've learned is every time I have fallen and felt like a failure or have failed, and anytime I've gone through anything negative in my experiences of just living life, some miracle, some magic has always come from it. But the biggest one, and there's a direct correlation, I believe, that the worse the situation is, the better and more magnificent the outcome in the long run, in due time. So, out of the greatest tragedy of losing my sister came the greatest triumph, is to finally have a purpose that I didn't even have to look for. It found me. I attracted it. I magnetized it. It came to me, which means it was effortless. I didn't even think about it. It just happened out of nowhere. Yet my whole life, I'm like, there's got to be more to life. I've got to have a purpose. There's got to be more than living, working, being unhappy, and dying. There's got to be more. And sure enough, not only is there way more, it was way magnificent as to how I got there with the least amount of emotional wear and tear, without even looking. When I least expected it, it just appeared. And to have this, not just purpose, it's a divine calling. It's like my genius. And every human being on the planet has their own inner genius. I absolutely believe that to be true. It's just a matter of staying with yourself and understanding who you are, evolving your consciousness, developing the newest part of the brain, the conscious mind. Okay, the oldest part of the brain is the fear mechanism, the fear alarm system to keep us alive. That is the oldest, most antiquated part of the human brain when it comes to living our dreams come true, to actually living a fairy tale life and creating things that we want and desire from our heart and from our passions. And so I cannot stress enough how vitally important it is to, number one, see everything as opportunity, to look at everything and reframe perceptions and views and opinions from a positive light, from an optimistic light, from a breakdown. With every breakdown is a breakthrough if you're willing to be open. You must be willing to be open. You must be a dog who's willing to learn new tricks. The human brain is so powerful, more powerful than any supercomputer on the planet to date. This is unbelievable. The human brain has 10 trillion bytes of memory. 10 trillion bytes. I mean, this is ridiculous. The amount of electricity that runs through all these neural connections and neural networks within our brain have so much power that we can't even comprehend it. And to think that the brain keeps growing until death, meaning that means we have the capacity to learn brand newly, not get set in our old ways, in our old viruses, in our old ways of thinking, is that we must create new ways of thinking and back it up with objective reality to look back and go, oh my God, in reality, I was able to create my career, my purposeful divine calling career at a very poor economic time when we were just bottoming out in a recession. And very similar to what's happening now, except seems like it's worse, but it really isn't. It just looks different because the underlying fears are all the same across the board. And it's the fear of no control. It's the fear of not knowing what's going to happen next. It's the fear. Fear has us hold tight. It has us narrow our focus into scarcity. No, it's counterintuitive. It's not a time of scarcity. It's a time of opportunity. So you must reframe. This is the best way to counteract what's happening in scarcity and go right back to reframing and looking at a point of view that creates a sense of abundance and prosperity. Over and over again, we can look at every time we went through economic downturn, there was more massive opportunities for riches than ever before, than ever in history. That's what I love. Now, here's the thing. The reason why we don't hear about it that much is because most people go down the scarcity poor road, not the abundant rich road. And so I'm here to say, I've lived it. I'm living it again, that here is an opportunity. It doesn't seem like it, but in objective reality, there's more opportunity right in front of us than we could ever imagine. And that's the point of view I'm going to take. Whether it happens or not, I can never lose. But what I do know, based on everything I've created in my life, every time I have a very high vibrational frequency and every time I have an optimistic, radically abundant, prosperous point of view, I create more abundance and more prosperity. And that's because I've gone back over and over again and tracked everything and backed it up with evidence. I can look at all my horses and my ranch and my real estate, my clients, my private practice, my clients, my potbelly pigs. I mean, I wanted one and I ended up with 12. What is that about? Oh my God, it's because I believe in prosperity and abundance. I believe in spiritual wealth. I believe that spiritual wealth creates money wealth. I do believe this, and I've lived it. If I look back, starting from when I was just a small child, the things I was able to create, I wanted to ride horses at 7 years old. I made that happen, and it was all me. My mother didn't come to me. I went to my mother and told her what I wanted to do. Then I told her how much it costs. And then I said, I want to do this. And she said, okay. And the reason why she said okay is because she said, you were a child who always knew what you wanted. And so, she just went with it because she had so many other kids to take care of. And I got what I wanted. In objective reality, in a court of law, I can prove that when I set my mind to something and I made it happen, starting as early as, that I can consciously say at 6 years old. When I set my mind to do something, I do it and I was driven by passion. I was driven by desire. I was driven by this compelling need to act, to take action. And I definitely am a desired driven human, a heart-based creative human. That has to be in the mix, or forget about it. I'm not doing it. I don't care. I don't care what will happen. I don't care about the consequences. I'm not doing it. That's how I've been always living my life, and it keeps working over and over and over again. And I have the evidence in a court of law to prove it. You want to look for your personal evidence. You want to look at every time you thought negatively, negative things happen, and every time you thought positively and optimistically, how much amazing things happen. You got to go back and look, because that gets filed into the part of the brain that we forget about it. We constantly have to go back and bring up our own personal evidence to support our thoughts and our perceptions and our belief systems. But I'm telling you, you want to go back and look for all the good, the magic, the miracles that you created, because you came from such a powerful mindset and heart set. You came from a powerful point of view, a positive, optimistic point of view. And look at that evidence over and over, and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. That's how we counteract the underlying subconscious fears and the feelings of blah, and the feelings of oh no, and the feelings of and bad mood. That's how we shift the mood. Shift your perceptions, reframe, look for the good, focus on what is working. No blessing too small or large. Count your blessings. The more you count, the more it helps to feed into reframing and seeing all the miracles right in front of you over and over again. Now, not saying don't prepare, don't be stupid and ignore it and bury your head like an ostrich. No, don't do that. Be smart about it. Rely on yourself and your magnificent superhuman supercomputer of your brain. Do your own research. Find out the facts. Don't take anything with a grain of salt in terms of just because they say it. I want facts. I don't ever just believe what people tell me until I do my own independent research. And I'm looking for reliable sources. And truth be told, I don't believe the media and the news. Those are not reliable to me. I want to go to the horse's mouth. I want to talk to the actual doctors, nurses, professionals that are dealing with the coronavirus. My father lives in China. I'm going to talk to my dad. He's there in that country. What is he? And he has a PhD. He's a smart man. I'm going to talk to him. And I'm not going to buy into his opinions either. And when he voices his opinions, I'm also going to hold him accountable and call him out if I don't agree. I want documentation. I want from reputable sources and experts in the field. Do your own research. Find out for yourself. Do what you need to do to reframe your own perceptions. Don't rely on other people, because most of it is all opinion. Most of it is because they heard it on the news or other people are doing it. They didn't go and check it out for themselves and verify through the best, most professional expert sources, and using the power of technology for good and not evil. Use it to do massive research. I mean, there are people who have written papers on this, highly educated people. There are so many resources out there. And the more you read and learn and present your own case to yourself, the more you grow your brain for greatness. The more you actually train your brain for more potential, more happiness, more health, more wealth, more romance, more love, more every dream you've ever had. The human lifespan is relatively short, and there's only so much time that a human lives, and it really, relatively speaking, is not long at all. Why would I want to spend 1 nanosecond or the smallest fractions of time worrying and being in stress and chaos, when I have the power through my brain to reframe things and elevate my mood, elevate my emotions, elevate my radio frequency, a brain's picking up the vibration of other brains, to continuously, consistently create magic, miracles, prosperity, abundance, success, wealth, riches. Why would I take any downtime on that? And knowing, I know because I've lived it, that in a time of fear and chaos and what seems to be a downtime, there is so much potential and so many breakthroughs and so many opportunities that's what I'm going to be training for, preparing for, as well as preparing just to have food and water and all of those things. Continue to do that, but don't panic about it. Stay calm, stay chill, be cool about it. Reframe, be in gratitude, be in the blessing mode, not the scarcity, poor, panic mode. Be in the magic, miracle, blessings, thank goodness, be of service. Don't go to anger and fear. Go to happiness, help. Stay on the air of positivity. You can never lose. You can never lose. Because that means you're taking all of those feelings, those positive, uplifting perceptions with you. It fuels the spirit. It fuels your soul. It fuels your mind. So in closing, look, positive, optimistic, powerful perceptions create the thoughts. Those thoughts create the belief systems. Those belief systems create our emotions and our feelings and our mood. Those emotions and feelings and our mood dictate our actions to stay proactive versus negative, reactive. Negativity and pessimism creates reaction. Okay, positivity and optimism creates proaction, proactivity, strength, and power. It has us be who we want to be, especially in the time of need or in down times. Hello, counterintuitive. Now more than any time whatsoever is the time to be positive and optimistic, looking for the good, being thankful, being of service to others, not to hanker down, but to be grounded, be present, and be a shining, guiding light for humanity, for the world, for the planet when we need it most. This goes out to all of the brilliant earth angels, spirit guides, all the stars and the humans that light up the earth, that make this place a better place, a more powerful place, a magical place, heaven on earth. This also goes out to the people who know they have this in them, but they've been getting in their own way. They've been letting their negativity pull them down instead of reframing and to a positivity and lifting them up. So here's our opportunity to be of service and lift humanity up, face everything and rise, and help our world and our planet and our universe be happier, healthier, more heavenly, more blissful. This is the time more than ever to be it, to live it, to do it, to have it, in that order, to be it, to live it, to breathe it, to exude that brilliance, that radiance, your genius. Now is the time. Thank you so much for listening. And I'm wishing you so much magic and miracles and opportunities right now and forevermore, especially in these times, because it's counterintuitive. In down times is more opportunity. In more down times, more abundance. So here it is. Look for the abundance, look for the prosperity, and own it. Thank you so much for listening.